My name is Elvira Asanova. Elvira. There's nothing else. We were evicted. How we were evicted, I don't remember.
How old were you?
I remember going to first grade. I remember my grandfather's death. I was born in 1939. 1939, we were evicted to Samarkand region. Galiaralsky district, Kaitash mine. There was no work, nothing, just a mine. There was no coal, no wood, nothing. I had 4 aunts. My uncles were taken to the army. They all were in the army. Their wives were Russians. They were sent to Krasnodar, Kuban, and Rostov. And my uncles were in the army themselves. In short, we got to the mine. There was no work or food at that mine. There were 5 of us children. 5 children. My poor mother didn't work, didn't speak Russian, couldn't say a word. My dad died on May 12, 1942. After my dad died, my mom sold the cow. One way or another, somehow they did it. When we were evicted, she didn't take anything. She only took the Quran. In the Quran, however, the chairman of the village. My mother was born in the Bakhchisarai district, in the village of Topchikoy. Then we were evicted, but so many people died in those mines. They get a job in a mine, and before a year has passed, they die. We are children. Hungry. Where were we supposed to go? My mother didn't work either. She didn't speak Russian. My grandpa used to go to the mosque. When he went to the mosque, Grandpa was healthy. He brought us sultanas, dried apricots, divided it between us. We sat and watched it all. There was nothing to light a fire with. My brother and I both went to collect sawdust. We took our sacks and brought the shavings. Then the cows, God forgive me, I'm ashamed to even say it. How should I tell you about it? If she raised her tail to defecate, we would put a basin. Then we took this basin and mixed it with sawdust. We had nothing at home. We were given a tarp. We built a tent. We lived in a tent. Both winter and summer. I grew up in a smell of cow dung. My poor mother tried to make at least some semblance of a house out of this tarp, and my aunts came and dug a hole for us. My aunts were healthy. My father's sisters. There were 4 of them. They dug a hole and covered it with straw and sawdust and put a tarp over it. That was our bed. That's where we all slept together. They burned sawdust and dung. Tell me, how could this keep you warm? My mother also wiped the floor with dung. The dust was rising. We were kids. Then we went to school. I remember going to school. I've seen a lot. I can't tell you everything.
On the way, were there any dead on the way?
Then I went to the first grade. You go up the mountain. As you go up, Your feet are completely in the water. Rubber shoes, they were getting wet. We take the water, pour it out, put our shoes back on, otherwise it didn't work. That's how I came down with rheumatism in 4th grade. Went to the hospital. In the hospital, someone died every day. We children went from room to room, wrapped in blankets. I can't get out of my head, there was such a boy, Ibrahim. His mother came to see him. When I think back on it, I cry and laugh. People can't get enough of bread, but he wanted chebureks. He said, Mom, the doctor said that I can eat chebureks. When I think about it, I laugh and cry. The doctor said that I can eat chebureks. So Ibrahim said, you can eat chebureks, too. When Grandpa died, Mom didn't know what to wrap him in. We only had the Quran and some paper in it. She went from village to village and found a blanket. They wrapped him in this blanket and took away. There was an area of wolves. Just as it was getting dark in the evening, they began to howl. The Crimean Tatars also lived in this area, and we are below, in the pit. Then there was a place called Podkaz. People were buried on this street with jackals. They buried him in the afternoon. In the morning they went, and he was gone. The jackals had eaten him. They collected the bones and buried them again. So my grandfather was eaten by jackals. They howl. My mother was afraid to pull us out from under this tarp. We collect dung, sawdust, and warm ourselves by the stove. So we grew up. The headmaster of the school took my sister to work as a cleaner. What kind of cleaner could be a 13-year-old girl? She got a job and we went to school. We, like many people, did not go and ask for alms. My brother and I had this trick. During the break, we ran with my brother to the buffet. Pretended that we have money. Teachers were buying pies. And we stood and watched. They took a bite and gave it to us. My little brother was quick. He died in 1982. He was quick. He took my share too and ran away. He wasn't full, poor thing. He didn't eat enough at all. At that time, there was such a solid beef oil. Where did sister find it? After work she brought. Put this solid butter in the soup. My little brother would take this oil and run away, eat it quickly, poor, from hunger. One day my sister brought sour cream. She put it in the soup instead of butter. Then my brother took the sour cream and ran away. In short, that's how we carried sawdust and humus, and we grew up slowly with it all. Then we moved from Koytash. We packed our bags with everything we'd got and moved out. Where to? Allah knows. We moved to Andijan region. And lived in Uzbek apartments. However, the Uzbeks helped us a little. Our neighbor Uncle Kamiljan, the driver, brought us some meat. They fed us together with their children, and we sat shivering. We moved to Andijan. My uncles, my mother's brothers were there. We moved from apartment to apartment. Someone worked as a cleaner, someone worked in construction. My brother was a projectionist. He took a machine, I don't remember how old he was, he lifted these weights. We, in turn, collected sawdust. That's how we grew up. I studied. Although it wasn't easy, I learned to be a nurse.